Is Jesus God? The shocking truth revealed at midnight, you won't believe this. In a small, restless town, shadows twisted along the cobblestone streets as midnight struck. A peculiar glow flickered from the old church, slicing through the darkness like a knife. A figure stood motionless by the door. Was it a ghost? Or something worse? Only the brave dared to approach. Inside, the air was thick with tension, and whispers floated like smoke, hinting at a revelation that could upend everything they believed. Could this be the moment truth emerged from the shadows? Beneath the eerie silence, an ancient book lay open on the altar, bathed in the flickering light of a single candle. The pages, worn and fragile, told tales of divine encounters. Each word seemed to pulse with the power of lost secrets. It was said that during the last full moon, the heavens would draw back the veil, revealing answers hidden for centuries. And tonight was that night. A young woman named Clara felt her heart thump louder than the clock's chime. She had come searching for answers, her breath quickening with each step. The moment she entered the church, she could feel the air thrum with energy. It was almost as if the walls were whispering her name, urging her closer. She caught glimpses of the townsfolk outside, faces twisted in fear and curiosity. Did they know what awaited her? Did they sense the gravity of what was unfolding? Suddenly, a low groan echoed from the shadows. Clara's skin prickled. She turned, but all she found was darkness. A spine-chilling shiver raced down her spine. She was not alone. Gripped by a tightness in her chest, she pushed forward. Did the town understand the ancient ties that shackled their existence? Questions swirled in her mind, demanding answers as she approached the altar. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The candle flickered again, casting a distorted image across the pages. Clara gasped as ancient symbols seemingly danced before her eyes. The light seemed to pulse in rhythm with her racing heart. Were these the keys to the mysteries shrouding her faith? She could feel the weight of the town's history pressing down on her. The air crackled with anticipation, holding a promise of revelation. But then came a scream from outside, splintering the heavy silence like glass shattering. Clara's stomach dropped. What had happened? Panic erupted amongst the townsfolk, their murmurs escalating into chaos. She wanted to flee, but her feet felt anchored to the ground. Was this the ultimate truth, or had she just uncovered a more terrifying lie? Clara's heart raced. She had to know what lay ahead. The answers were waiting somewhere between the scrawled words of the ancient book and the fears choking the townsfolk outside. She took a deep breath, gathering her courage. Maybe the truth was worth the risk. Maybe, just maybe, it would change everything. Clara's hands trembled as she reached for the book, a magnetic pull drawing her closer. The chaos outside seemed to fade, replaced by the heavy contemplation swirling in her mind. Could these fragile pages truly hold the answers she sought? With a single flick of her wrist, she brushed aside the dust layering the cover. The moment her fingers traced the ancient symbols, a wave of energy surged through her, igniting a flicker of hope mixed with dread. She blinked hard, trying to make sense of the cryptic illustrations and the words that tangled together like vines. Suddenly, the door flung open, jarring Clara from her trance. A man burst in, eyes wide with horror. It was Peter, her childhood friend, his normally composed demeanor now shattered. "Clara! You have to come outside." His voice was raw, tight with fear. What happened? Clara's throat felt constricted. She sensed the growing urgency, but the lure of the book was too strong. "Just come on. They found something in the woods." Peter gasped, pain etched on his face. Clara hesitated, torn between the burning questions ignited by the book and the palpable fear reflected in Peter's eyes. People were rushing past them, their breaths almost like a chorus of terror choking the air. What did they find? Clara pressed, her heart racing even faster. A body, Clara. Out by the old mill, Peter stammered, his voice barely a whisper. There's something very wrong. They say it's a sign. I don't think it's just a coincidence. The world around her spun as the reality of his words crashed over her. A body? The gravity of fear now hung heavier than before. The church, once a sanctuary, felt haunted, its secret suffocating her. Clara. Peter's voice jolted her back. You could help us. They'll need someone who knows the stories, the myths. She took a cautious step back from the altar, the book's secrets still swirling in her mind. Just then, from deep in the shadows, an ominous whisper sliced through the air, calling her name. Cold chills danced across her skin. Was it from the book? Or was the church itself alive, bearing witness to these events? Let us go, she finally said, her decision wavering between dread and determination. As they fled the church, the candle sputtered out, plunging the altar into darkness. Outside, the crowd was a chaotic wave of uncertainty. Clara's heart raced, but not just from fear. It was the adrenaline of knowing she was right on the edge of an unknown truth. Faces young, old, familiar twisted with horror. She could feel their collective pulse, a mingled fear that clung to the air like a dense fog. Over here. A voice shouted, leading them toward the woods. Clara's pulse quickened as they approached the scene. She felt the energy around her shift, like static before a storm. Is it really? Clara's voice trailed off as she saw the outline through the trees. The weight of her own impending discovery pressed heavily on her chest. Some say it's a message, another whispered. From him, or perhaps from something darker. With each step, she drew closer to the heart of chaos, a dread realization dawning upon her. What if this was the truth she had been seeking? As the crowd parted to reveal the grisly sight, her breath caught in her throat. The vision was unlike anything she had ever encountered. Maybe it wasn't just about faith anymore. Maybe it was about survival. Clara's heart raced as she stood frozen, staring into the abyss that was now her reality. What lay ahead would forever change her understanding of everything she once held sacred. And in a heartbeat, she recognized, this was no mere accident. What did this grim discovery truly mean? The darkness seemed to close around her, waiting to reveal its very own shocking truth. Clara took a deep breath. The answers were closer now, yet so terrifyingly out of reach. This was just the beginning. What would unfold next? The air was thick with tension as Clara stepped into the clearing. A gasp rose from the crowd, both amplified and isolated with the realization staring back at all of them. They surrounded the scene like a dreadful audience, their faces ghostly pale, mouths agape as if in prayer or disbelief. Clara, you have to look. Peter urged, pulling her gently but firmly toward the center. It's beyond anything we could have imagined. Clara's eyes darted over the horror before her. The body lay on the ground, contorted in an unnatural position, shrouded in leaves and earth as if nature itself recoiled from the sight. The dim light cast grotesque shadows, and she felt bile rise in her throat. Each heartbeat hammered in her ears as she forced herself closer, a part of her desperate to turn away. What do you see? Whispered an elderly woman nearby, her voice trembling. What can you tell us? For a split second, Clara struggled against the impulse to retreat. But then the visions from the book flashed in her mind, symbols, screams, and whispers that took root deep in her soul. I don't know yet, she managed, feeling the knot in her stomach tighten. The world around her felt surreal, a dream painted with strokes of horror. They said the markings looked familiar. Peter spoke, his face a mask of worry. Like those in the old tales, the ones you used to be so fascinated by. Clara knelt closer, squinting in the fading light. The body bore strange symbols etched into the skin, symbols that twisted and turned like sinister serpents. The patterns blurred reality and myth, and a sick feeling settled in her chest. It was her first taste of truth, and it tasted bitter. "It's him," the voice of a man from the back called out, voice cracking in terror. "It's the one from the stories. The one who brings darkness." "What stories?" Clara shouted, her heart racing. "Which darkness?" But no one answered. Instead, they only stared wide-eyed at the body as if they expected it to rise and speak the terrible truth that burdened their souls. The quiet whispers of dread cascaded through the crowd, each one adding weight to the growing storm that raged inside her. An officer pushed through the throng, face drawn and serious. "Step back. Give us room," he commanded, but his eyes flickered over the body with a fear that equally terrified and fascinated Clara. "What if it's a warning?" someone muttered. "What if we awaken something sinister?" Clara shivered, feeling the spectral fingers of fear begin to clutch at her heart. She suddenly recalled the book's warning, "Beware the keeper of truths that fall under light." With dread pooling at her feet, she wondered if now was the time to grasp what those truths could mean, if she was ready to know the darkness hinted at in their quiet town's folklore. As the crowd erupted in panic and confusion, Clara's gaze fixed on the lifeless form again. The energy surrounding her felt charged, electric, hinting at horrors yet unknown. She sensed the pull of whatever eldritch force was at play, and it beckoned her to explore deeper. "Clara. We can't just leave it here," Peter urged, his grip firm on her shoulder. "We have to do something." It was a dilemma that weighed heavily on her conscience. To explore the depths of meaning behind this horror, or turn away and bury the uncertainty deeper, where it would fester and grow. "What if we're too late?" she whispered, breath hitching. Just then, a piercing scream erupted from the edge of the woods. Clara's pulse quickened. She turned, eyes wide and every nerve ending electrified. What was that? The woods felt alive with shadows now, swirling and shifting. Clara felt the ominous presence again, heavier this time, as if it had been waiting for its moment to strike. Together, they stepped toward the sound, hearts pounding as crossing the threshold into darkness seemed inevitable. What awaited them deep in the woods? Would it carry further secrets or unrivaled terror? Clara could sense the gravity of the choice pressing in around her, tightening the air in her lungs. The worst, she knew, was yet to come. The darkness wrapped around Clara and Peter like a blanket, thick and oppressive. Shadows flickered in the corner of her eyes, retreating whenever she turned her head, but the dread stayed close, a tangible weight pressing against her chest. Each step toward the woods felt sacrilegious, like an intruder crossing the threshold of a forgotten sanctuary. "What if whatever's out here it knows?" Peter whispered, his voice cutting through the chaos of her thoughts. His grip tightened on her hand, and she felt the shiver in his fingers echo her own fear. "I don't know," Clara admitted, each word a confession laden with trepidation. "But we can't just leave. What if someone needs help?" They moved deeper into the woods, the trees towering like grim guardians, their leaves whispering stories of ages gone by. A breeze rustled through the branches, mingling with the echoes of distant footsteps. Clara strained to listen, frantic heartbeats pushing her forward as she fought against the instinct to flee. "Stay close," Peter urged, his eyes scanning the path ahead. Then they heard it again, a low, guttural howl that seemed to reverberate through the very earth beneath their feet. It was almost animalistic, yet carried an intelligence that chilled Clara's blood. The howl rose and fell, a wailing lamentation that morphed into an unnatural silence, pressing against them like the breath of some lurking creature. "What if it's something guarding him?" Clara suggested, fear lodging like a stone in her throat. "The body out there. The stories say guardians are tied to the darkness." Peter recoiled, squeezing her hand as if for dear life. "Clara," he hissed. "This isn't about stories anymore. If they're true." A rustle in the underbrush halted their breath. Turning toward the sound, Clara squinted into the dark, the trees swallowing the last remnants of light. Branches creaked overhead, a low growl echoing nearer. The air electrified, whispers crawled under her skin, beckoning her to remain still, and then she saw it. A figure, almost human but fluid and twisted as if caught between two worlds. Its eyes glowed a fluorescent green, gleaming in the dark. It watched them, head tilted, a half-smile creeping across a face that bore the scars of ancient fury. Clara's heart raced, pounding violently against her ribs. "Run!" she gasped, adrenaline flooding her limbs. But as she tried to pull Peter away, he remained frozen, eyes locked on the apparition. "Peter, please." "I can't," he said, voice hoarse. "It's looking at us like it knows us." A flash of recognition rippled through Clara as the creature raised a hand, and the symbols on its skin seemed to pulse in time with the dread surrounding them. They were the same symbols carved into the body, a malignant marriage of life and death entwined within its very essence. In that moment, reality shattered. Clara realized they had awakened something primordial, and it hungered. As the creature stepped forward, shadows danced with malicious glee, and Clara felt the floor of reality drop beneath her. The darkness shifted, almost alive, devouring the light around them. "Clara, we have to go," Peter shouted, his voice breaking through the haze of terror. "Now." They turned to run, but panic seized them, fear slithering into their thoughts. Beneath the roar of their blood thrumming in their ears, Clara felt an inexplicable lure back toward the figure. It beckoned with promises that twisted both logic and myth, whispering secrets meant for her ears alone. The forest snarled around them as they sprinted, root and stone clawing at their feet, but Clara couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The question lingered, one that could birth either salvation or doom. What would she sacrifice to unveil the darkness that had come alive? In the distance, another scream erupted, this one more human, raw with anguish. They faltered, hearts racing, knowing that no matter what happened next, nothing would ever be the same. The dark forest pulsed, shadows coiling around them like a serpent, waiting with bated breath. The moment was approaching, the moment of truth, and Clara sensed that clarity was only a heartbeat away. What awaited them as they pushed forward, racing against time and terror? Would the answers reveal salvation or an inescapable doom? Jagged breaths broke through the heavy silence as Clara and Peter raced ahead, the darkness clawing at their heels. Every snapping twig beneath their feet echoed like a gunshot in the stillness, urgency bleeding into every inch of their desperate flight. Their minds were a chaotic maze, urgency mingled with raw terror. "Did you hear that?" Clara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She strained to listen, the sounds of the forest becoming an almost living creature, undulating with the menace of the unseen. "It's everywhere," Peter exclaimed, breathless and panicked. "We can't stay in here." But clarity flickered in the corners of Clara's mind like starlight in a storm. The scream, "Someone needs us. We have to go back." She felt Peter hesitate. The wild terror coursing through him was undeniable, palpable. "Clara, stop. You don't know what you're saying." "That thing, I have to." Her heart thundered, driven not just by fear but longing. Memories flashed, her first day in town, the tales of the woods, the way the local children had dared each other to step closer to its shadows. There was a truth buried in those stories, and she felt it gnawing at her consciousness, whispering things she wanted to understand. As she forged onward, Peter reluctantly followed, his reluctance giving way to a sense of shared fate. They navigated the undergrowth with caution, barely making a sound, the suffocating dark wrapping around them like a shroud. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Clara's eye. There, amidst the shadows, she glimpsed the pale figure once more, the creature. Its fluorescent green eyes glimmered, fixating on them with an intensity that sent shivers racing down her spine. It was closer now, somehow, as if the darkness had bent space and time around them. The symbols on its skin pulsed, each beat resonating with the heartbeat in Clara's own chest. "What do you want from us?" she shouted, a mixture of defiance and fear coursing through her veins. The creature tilted its head, the half-smile widening into a horrifying grin that revealed rows of sharp teeth glistening like fangs in the faint light. the air thickened, and Clara felt an unsettling mix of dread and sympathy. It was almost as if she could see inside its tortured soul, caught between realms. "Please," she whispered, feeling the words slip out before she could stop herself. "Help us find him." The creature drew closer, intertwining with the shadows. Its voice was a low rumble, an ancient echo. "He is part of us now, bound by blood, by darkness." Peter's grip tightened around Clara's wrist, urging her back. "This is insanity, Clara. We don't know what it means." But Clara couldn't tear her eyes away. The figure began to weave through the air, drawing intricate patterns of light and shadow that coiled like smoke around them. It was mesmerizing and terrifying, an indecipherable dance that resonated in her bones, invoking memories she couldn't quite grasp. What if he is trapped? What if her thoughts spiraled? What if we can bring him back? The creature's eyes flared with an alien hunger, and in that instant, Clara felt the primal pull of the forest, an invitation, a challenge. Would it swallow her whole if she stepped closer? "Clara, don't!" Peter shouted. But it was too late. She took a step forward, her breath hitching as the shadows reached out, curling around her ankles like greedy fingers. A surge of power coursed through her. She could feel the weight of every story and halting whisper that had been passed through generations hanging over them like thunderclouds. She faced the creature squarely, her heart racing, and screamed, "We're not afraid of you." With that declaration, the forest trembled. Answers surged forth like a torrent through Clara's mind, aching to be revealed, when suddenly, everything went silent. The shadows recoiled, and for a heartbeat, the forest held its breath. Then suddenly laughter erupted around them, echoing like a nightmare born of joy. It pulled at the threads of sanity, and before they could process what was happening, reality twisted, bending under the weight of something far greater than fear. In that moment of frozen time, Clara realized they were standing on the precipice of something massive, a revelation that could either unravel the darkness or consume them whole. What boundary had they crossed, and what awaited them in the depths of the woods? Would they emerge with understanding, or would it lead them deeper into an unimaginable abyss? The air vibrated with that unsettling laughter, a chaotic melody echoing among the trees. It was both a taunt and an invitation, the forest shifting around them as if alive with hidden secrets. Clara felt her heart race, a mix of exhilaration and terror coursing through her veins. She was stepping into a world written in shadows, where every rustle of leaves and flickering light held the weight of eternity. "Clara!" Peter's voice was urgent, cutting through the haze of awe. "We need to get out of here." But the pull of the forest was too strong, its grip tightening around Clara's resolve. She felt a connection to the creature, an ancient bond pulsing through her. It wasn't just dark, it had a rhythm, a purpose. She took another step closer, and the shadows danced more fervently, whispering promises she didn't yet understand. "Stop! It's playing with us." Peter's panic flared, pulling at Clara's wrist, his eyes wide with desperation. "Maybe it's trying to show us something," she replied, searching for the truth that flickered in those glowing eyes. "What if it knows where he is?" The creature swayed, its grin expanding, teeth glinting like sharp stars in the night sky. A low growl tumbled from its throat, vibrating through the ground beneath her. "Bound by blood," it echoed, each word reverberating in Clara's chest. "Do you seek him? Do you wish to understand?" Clara swallowed hard. "Yes. Please, guide us." The fear of the unknown faded, replaced by an undeniable sense of purpose. She had to uncover the truth, whatever it may lead to. The creature leaned closer, its eyes locking onto hers, and time warped. Clara was no longer standing in the shadowy wood, but being swept away into memories not her own. The night unfurled around her like an old, tattered map, showing her fleeting images, a flickering lantern, a shadowy figure vanishing into the woods, a soft whisper that echoed through time, calling her name. Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced through the reverie, yanking her back. Peter was pulling her back, eyes filled with fear. "Clara, don't!" But she was changed. "Peter, we can't run anymore. It won't let us. The creature's laughter twisted through the trees, growing louder as if it had awakened something primal. It turned its body, gliding deeper into the forest's breath, an invitation for them to follow. Clara hesitated for only a moment, then stepped forward again, locked in a trance fueled by a mixture of dread and excitement. "Clara! I am not going anywhere without you!" Peter yelled, desperation breaking through the fear. She glanced back, his expression was torn, caught between the instinct to flee and the bond that tethered them. "Trust me," Clara urged, feeling the warmth of the creature's energy bloom around her. As she followed the creature, who moved like liquid night, she felt every heartbeat and rustle inviting her deeper into the unknown. The shadows thickened, wrapping around them, and whispers grew louder, indistinguishable yet hauntingly familiar. Each lost soul of the forest echoing their own fears and regrets. "What have we gotten ourselves into?" Peter's voice quivered, anger and fear mingling, but Clara pressed on, something inside igniting with each step, each pulse of light from the creature. She reached for Peter, desperation flooding her voice. "This is our chance. We can find him." Below them, the ground shifted, revealing intricate symbols carved into the earth, glowing faintly against the night. The air crackled with tension, and for a fleeting moment, Clara understood every child's tale whispered to her. The forest held memories of loss, choices made long ago. "I can feel it, there is something here that connects us," she whispered, touching the cool earth. "Can't you see it?" Peter didn't respond immediately, but the shadows flickered violently, a warning or an awakening. The air thickened, spiraling into a tempest of emotion and power. Clara's heart thudded against her ribs, echoing the visions swirling around, then the laughter morphed, breaking into anguished cries filled with sorrow. They were real voices, shadows of those who had vanished into the dark centuries ago. Was this the truth they sought? What if we're not meant to find him? Peter's voice trembled, uncertainty leaking through. Clara felt the thrill of resolve, the knowledge that they were on the brink of something monumental, something darker than their fears. But just as she felt it, another sound pierced through the night, a familiar shout. Not just any shout. It was a cry she knew intimately. Her name echoed through the woods, pulling her heart into a frenzy. It was him, and there, just beyond the darkness, the silhouette of a figure emerged, fragile and desperate. What would happen now, as they stood on the brink of the unknown, tethered by fear and longing? Would the shadows consume them, or would they reclaim that which was lost? Clara's breath hitched, anticipation pulsing through her, as the forest held its breath once again, waiting for an answer. The figure took a hesitant step forward, and in an instant, an icy dread swept over Clara. Her heart raced as she tried to make sense of him. Was it really him? The shadows wrapped tighter, whispering doubts that twisted in her mind. She could hardly breathe. "Clara," the voice broke with desperation, teetering on the edge of loss. Her name hung heavy in the air. "Is it really you?" She barely managed to speak, fear mingling with hope. The moment drew thin, stretching the air around them. I thought I lost you." His image flickered like a candle in a storm. Each blink made him seem more fleeting, a ghost dancing on the edge of her reality. "Don't move," Peter shouted, gripping Clara's arm tightly. It could be a trap. But Clara felt tethered to the familiar warmth in the figure's presence. She pulled away from Peter's grasp, stepping toward the apparition. "No. It's him. I can feel it." "Clara, wait." Peter's voice was a mix of panic and frustration. But she couldn't stop now, the connection surging through her like molten fire. "Step into the light," Clara called, her voice trembling with urgency. The figure halted, caught in the spectral glow of the ancient woods. Clara felt the air thicken around them, a blanket of unspeakable tension. The creature, still lurking in the darkness, growled low, like an angry storm brewing behind them. The shadows shimmered and churned, and for a moment, Clara feared they would swallow them whole. The figure stepped forward, his face coming into stark relief. It was him, her brother, Daniel, alive in a way that sent chills down her spine. Hope and horror mingled, tangled up like the branches around them. His eyes were wild, haunted by things he couldn't unsee. Clara. He gasped, reaching out. You've got to get out of here. It's not safe. Safe? What is happening? Clara felt an ache of confusion. Where were you? We've been looking for you. We shouldn't have come. Daniel's gaze darted to Peter, then to the swirling shadows, panic knocking at the edges of his voice. I thought I could protect you, but it's too late. They're watching. They won't let you leave. What do you mean? Peter interjected, his tone sharp, eyes darting to Clara. You need to stick together. He could be under its spell. No. I'm your brother. Daniel's voice cracked, desperation clawing at the air between them. I'm real. You have to trust me. Clara's heart pounded. She felt the depth of his desperation as if it were her own. The creature roared, a sound that vibrated through her bones, shaking her resolve. It was hungry, waiting for the moment they would falter. Clara. Peter shouted again, fear breaking through. It's a trick. You know it is. But Clara's heart urged her to believe. She took another step towards her brother, fueled by visceral ties woven through shared memories, through laughter, and bonds of loyalty. Please, Clara urged. Help us. Show us the way out. Daniel recoiled, shaking his head. I can't. If you don't leave now, it will take you too. The laughter echoed once more, drowning out their cries, vibrating with malevolence. Shadows closed in, the forest itself shifting with intent. Clara realized too much rode on this moment the weight of her choices, the fate of those she loved. I won't leave you. She cried, facing the darkness that loomed. The shadows laughed louder, a death knell echoing through the abyss, desperate to drown out her resolve. Clara. Peter yelled, terror bearing down. Don't. But the fabric of the forest trembled, twisting around them in a chaotic tangle of fate. Clara could feel it, the looming confrontation rising, a storm gathering force, threatening to pull them under. Suddenly, the creature lunged forward, its true form emerging from the shadows, the embodiment of their fears and regrets. What binds you, I will release, but at a price. The promise lingered in the air, thick and pungent, a choice suspended between blood and shadows. Caught in the heart of wicked enchantment, Clara's vision darkened as she heard her brother's voice falter, merging with the laughter that echoed in the woods. What was truly at stake? Would she be prepared to pay the price for those she loved? As the shadows reached out, curling around her resolve like hungry vines, Clara felt the world slipping. Was this the truth she sought, or a trap shrouded in deceptive light? A scream erupted, piercing the night, but from whom? What decision would she make, as the forest hung poised on the brink of chaos? The shadows spread like ink across the forest floor, homing in on Clara with a sinister intent. Time slowed as her heart drummed in her ears. Every instinct screamed at her to run, yet she felt tethered to Daniel, a thread pulled taut between them. She could see it in his eyes, the raw fear, the darkened remnants of a past she dared not touch. Clara! He shouted, voice breaking in a way that sent chills down her spine. This isn't just a forest. It's a prison. You have to trust me. But how can I? She felt the ground beneath her quake as the creature loomed, hungry for their despair. It towered like a nightmare, grotesque and indecipherable, its presence shaking the very trees around them. Peter's voice cut into the chaos, desperate and loud. It's a trick. Clara, I'm telling you. Don't listen to him. The tension in the air mirrored the knots in Clara's stomach. Her memories of Daniel flickered like distant stars, daydreams of them playing in the summer sun, family dinners filled with laughter, his protective nature. But now she faced the question haunting her thoughts: was this the brother she had known, or a facade crafted by darkness? Please. Clara's voice was barely a whisper, trembling. help us find a way out. As if answering her, the creature surged forward, its ghastly form blending with the shadows. It spoke again, voice dripping with malice. You want to escape? Embrace your fear, and I will release you from the burdens that bind you. But understand, the more you fight, the more it will cost you. Clara. Daniel urged again, urgency flooding his tone. You can't listen to it. Run. With a swift movement, the creature lunged, its shadowy limbs reaching towards her like dark tendrils, meant to tear at her very essence. Clara's instinct took over, and she stumbled back, colliding against Peter, who held her arms tightly. Together, Clara. We need to stand together. The cacophony of shadows shrieked in dissonance, drowning out her thoughts. The darkness pulsed with greed, relishing her fear as she looked from Daniel to Peter. The two men representing her past and her present, beckoning her with conflicting choices. Clara could feel it, the weight of decisions pressing on her shoulders. Could she really believe Daniel? Could he truly be her brother, or was this merely an illusion meant to ensnare her deeper into the creature's web? Then came the whispers, sweet and sibilant, floating to her like a faint melody. Let go of your bonds, child. Embrace the darkness. Only then will you be free. The ground trembled again, tendrils of shadow swirling like smoke, wrapping around her like cold, wet mist. The creature's laughter echoed heartlessly, clawing at her sanity. No. Clara cried, pushing against the darkness that gripped her heart. I want the truth. In that moment, time snapped into focus. Clara's connection to Daniel flared brighter, the warmth she felt lighting a fire within her chest. Whatever lies between us, I'll choose him. I won to let you win. With that declaration, a burst of light erupted from her core, illuminating the shadows creeping forward. The creature recoiled, its scream piercing through the forest, a sound that shattered the air into a million fragments. Leave her. Daniel cried, stepping forward, a fierce determination settling in his features. The shadows retreated slightly, but Clara could see their glimmering eyes lurking just beyond the edges of light. Do you really think you can defeat me? The creature howled, anger radiating like heat. They will always come for you. You cannot escape what has been given. But Clara stood firm, her breath coming in quick bursts as she faced the creature's ferocity. You have no power here. You're nothing but a shadow of our fears. The forest seemed to quake as the creature writhed in response, shadows writhing around in a terrifying dance. Clara felt the stirrings of hope, but doubt crept in like a spider in the dark. Was this really the fight she would win? To her left, Peter shifted uneasily, uncertain. Clara, it's not safe. We need to find a way. With every passing second, the battle felt like it was unraveling into chaos once again. Each choice, each heartbeat was forged in the fight for her reality. Would the shadows trap her forever, or could she break free? As the creature roared, darkness swirling with fury around them, Clara was left wrestling with the very foundation of her beliefs. And for the first time, Clara questioned what was the true cost of freedom. Suddenly, a low growl, deeper than before, reverberated through the ground beneath them, leaving Clara paralyzed in fear. Just beyond the light, another figure emerged from the shadows. Who, or what, would it be this time? The new figure stepped into the light, tall and imposing, but the familiar features twisted in a way that made Clara's breath catch. It was someone she had loved, someone whose loss had shattered her world. Mom. Clara's voice was shaky, disbelief filling her as tears threatened to spill. She could barely see her mother's face beneath the shroud of darkness, but the voice, soft yet commanding, sent shards of hope and fear coiling around her heart. Clara, the figure whispered, reaching out. I'm here. But not in the way you think. The shadows hissed, swallowing the sound. The creature, enraged, erupted with laughter, swirling around its new prey. Ah, what a delicious twist. It knows you, doesn't it? Your mother has come to offer you peace. All you must do is surrender. No. Daniel yelled, pulling Clara back as the shadows surged forward. This isn't real. It's using your memories against you. Is that so, Daniel? The creature taunted, turning its attention to him. Where was your voice when Clara needed you? You've failed her before. Embrace your family, Clara. Embrace the truth. The only way out is through. Clara's heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing doubt. She wanted to reach for her mother, to feel that warmth and comfort she had longed for, but something felt wrong. The shadows writhed closer, like a serpent preparing to strike. No. Clara shouted fiercely. I want to be your pawn. Mom, I know you would never. Her mother's lips curled into a sad smile, eyes glimmering with unshed tears. My sweet Clara, it's okay. You don't have to fight anymore. This beast feeds on your pain. Let go. Don't listen to it. Peter shouted, his voice rising above the cacophony. You have to break free. You have the light inside you. But doubt flooded Clara's mind like a tidal wave. What did it mean to leave behind her pain? Would that also mean leaving her family, her memories? The shadows loomed larger, wrapping around her legs. What price will you pay for peace? The creature crooned, whispering directly into her soul. Ask yourself, do you really want to live trapped in this forest of darkness? Thoughts swirled, each memory pulling her in different directions. Laughter, loss, courage, and fear all played like a haunting melody in her mind. Her family's faces flickered before her, ghosts of moments almost forgotten. Clara. Daniel urged, grabbing her hand, grounding her. You know what truth is. You felt it. With a surge of clarity, she felt the fire inside her reignite, illuminating the doubts that threatened to drown her. I'm more than my pain. She yelled, a fierce determination rising. You can't have me. The shadows recoiled, deep azure veins pulsing in the blackness. The creature's scream of rage shattered the air as Clara called forth the light from deep within. It pushed back against the darkness, bright as the sun, churning shadows into vapor. Daniel's grip strengthened. Push, Clara. With everything. The ground rumbled violently beneath them, the very fabric of the forest responding to her inner strength. Trees swayed, and the air crackled with energy. Fools! The creature hissed, thrashing in fury. You think you can banish me? This is only the beginning. As Clara's light engulfed everything, she felt her mother's presence near, but as she focused, memories ebbed away, leaving only the warmth of unyielding support, not a curse. Freedom is worth any price. She shouted, channeling all her pain and love into that moment. Finally, with a deafening roar, the creature shattered like glass, scattering into the air. But just as the light dimmed, Clara sensed another presence lingering in the darkness, something not quite defined, something unfamiliar yet intimately known. Clara, it's not over. The chill of realization swept through her as the shadows began to stir again, threatening to reclaim their darkness. Something deeper, dark and powerful, was awakening. What had she unleashed this time? The world around Clara erupted into chaos as shadows writhed, screaming fragments of darkness coiling around her. Peter's grip tightened on her wrist, fear etched on his face. Clara. We need to get out of here. But Clara was rooted in place, a bitter ache settling in her chest. Each memory they had fought through now felt like fragile threads unraveling. Desperation surged as she glanced toward Daniel, his expression caught between hope and despair. What do we do? She pleaded, voice trembling. We defeated it. There must be a way out. Daniel's eyes glinted with determination. We have to confront what's rising. Before it consumes us completely. The shadows pulsated in response, twisting around them, echoing with a growl of malevolent laughter. The air felt thick, as if the very forest was a beast awakening from a troubled sleep. Is this the price for freedom? Clara shouted, a defiance boiling over inside her. To be bound to the darkness once again. Her voice rang out, shaking the tree limbs overhead, sending leaves tumbling like prayer. We stand together. United. Peter urged. Clara could feel the pulse of the forest beneath her feet, ancient and accusing. The shadows shifted, a swirling mass of anger, hunger, and bitterness. But amongst the encroaching dark, flickers of luminosity sparked, dancing around her, remnants of strength that had once battled within them. This is our choice. Clara declared, a fierce fire igniting in her heart. We will not submit. We are more than what this world wants us to be. The ground trembled as if the forest itself responded to her declaration, the shadows recoiling slightly, a mere breath that gave her hope. Together, we can reclaim what we've lost. Draw the light. Daniel shouted, his voice echoing her resolve. Let it flow through you. And just like that, the light surged from within Clara, drowning out the darkness creeping around her ankles. It exploded outward, encasing them in a protective shield, a vast sphere of warmth. The negative energies recoiled in fear, howling in fury as if caught in a tempest. Feel your fears, don't let them drown you. Peter shouted. We can break free. Memories flooded Clara's mind, her brother's laughter, their mother's embrace, every moment steeped in love anchoring her to the light. With each breath, she drew strength from them, the shadows retreating as uncertainty fled before the warmth of remembered joy. The dark creature screamed, its fury intensifying, the ground beneath shaking as it fought against the rising tide of light. You cannot escape. You are mine. No. We belong to each other. Clara roared back, pushing against the darkness with everything she had. You will not control us. The brilliance escalated, filling the clearing, forcing the shadows to thin. Clara felt Peter's hand in hers and Daniel's energy guiding her forward. Together, they faced the storm of trauma, every shred of fear hopping from their hearts. Claim your truth. Peter shouted, eyes blazing with conviction. With a decisive roar, Clara unleashed the light in a sweeping motion, cascading forth like a sunbeam breaking through clouds. Shadows exploded, scattering like a dark mist blown away by a fierce wind, revealing a path weaving through the remnants of the battle. She could feel the energy shift, a weight lifting from her shoulders. The darkness receded, howling in resignation as the forest began to return to its natural state, the trees glowing with vibrant life. Yet, just when they thought it was over, another figure emerged from the recesses of the woods, tall and cloaked in shadow. You may have won this fight, but the war is far from over, it whispered, a slithering dread curling through the air. No. Clara spat. You do not define us. With newfound resolve, they stepped forward as a unit, hearts synchronized, pulsating with the determination to protect what they loved against all odds and threats. Who holds the light holds the power, Daniel declared, unyielding. And with that, the shadows dispersed completely, turning to nothing but whispers in the wind, a reminder of the battle they had fought. And as they emerged from the woods, the sun began to rise, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, illuminating the small town that awaited them. Clara felt lighter, a sense of peace embracing her heart. We did it, she breathed, tears streaming down her cheeks. They stood united, bound by experience and strength, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the truth that had emerged from darkness. No more secrets, Peter said, determination settling in his eyes. Together always, Clara replied, hope blooming anew, ready to forge her path alongside her brother and friend, unafraid of what awaited in their lifetimes. And with that, they walked forward, releasing the shadows behind them, free to embrace the light of a brand new dawn. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know you're part of this amazing journey. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. What did you think of the ending? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Show your support for the channel. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions.